All right, so you wanted to go deep on uranium, not just the basics that everyone already knows.
Right, beyond bombs and power plants.
Exactly. And we're using Wikipedia as our guide, but we're really going to uncover the cool, the unexpected stuff.
Yeah, like a detective story almost.
I like that, tracing its journey from, well, ancient times all the way to modern science, maybe a little geology thrown in too.
Well, speaking of ancient times, did you know that uranium was used way back in the Roman Empire? Like 79 AD.
Really? What, like for weapons or something?
No, no, nothing like that. It was for color. They used it to make these vibrant yellow ceramic glazes.
Wow. So they were unknowingly using a radioactive element for centuries, just for its color. That's wild.
Isn't it? It wasn't until 1912 that an archaeologist, R.T. Gunther, figured this out. He was examining a Roman villa near Naples and bam, uranium.
That's incredible. So how did we go from uranium and Roman pottery to, the uranium we know today?
Well, it took a while. Fast forward to 1789, the same year as the French Revolution, actually. A chemist named Martin Heinrich Klaproth, he finally isolates this new element.
And I'm guessing that's where the name uranium comes from.
You got it.
Yeah.
He named it after the planet Uranus, which had just been discovered a few years earlier.
Makes sense. So it's connected to the cosmos from the very beginning.
Exactly. It really captures that sense of scientific excitement around space and the universe back then. But, uranium wasn't just for pretty glazes.
Oh, what else was it used for?
All sorts of things, things you'd never expect. Like, have you ever heard of fiestaware?
Yeah, those colorful dishes, right. Mid-20th century kind of thing.
Yep, that's the one. And guess what? Uranium was used in the glaze to give those dishes their signature vibrant colors.
No way. So people were eating off of uranium-laced dishes.
They were. And it wasn't just fiestaware. They used it in bathroom tiles, too.
Wow, so this stuff was everywhere. And this was all before people even knew about radioactivity, right?
Exactly. Oh, and here's another one, even weirder. They used uranium in dentures.
Dentures! Seriously, why? What possible reason could they have for using uranium in dentures?
Believe it or not, for fluorescence. It made the dentures brighter whiter.
Wow, that's something. So uranium was basically woven into the fabric of everyday life back then. It really puts things into perspective.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Then, of course, everything changed with the discovery of radioactivity.
Right, in 1896, Henri Becquerel. And ironically, he made the discovery using uranium.
Yep, full circle. And that discovery completely shifted the focus from its aesthetic uses to its nuclear properties.
And even in those early days of nuclear research, there were some surprising uses. Like during World War I, when resources were scarce, they used uranium as a substitute for molybdenum in steel production.
That's right. Wartime necessity often leads to some interesting innovations. But, it makes you wonder about the long-term consequences they might not have fully grasped at the time.
Definitely food for thought. Speaking of pivotal discoveries, let's talk about fission, the process that really put uranium on the map. I heard there's a fascinating story behind that discovery.
There is. It all started with Enrico Fermi, brilliant physicist, in 1934. He was bombarding uranium with neutrons, trying to create brand new elements, you see.
And what happened? Did he succeed?
Well, he thought he did. He observed these new radioactive products and believed he'd created elements 93 and 94, even named them oceanium and hesperium.
He hadn't.
No, he stumbled onto something even bigger, fission.
So he accidentally discovered fission. That's incredible. How did they even figure out what was actually happening?
It took a while. Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann, they finally cracked the chemical code, so to speak.
And then Lise Meitner and Otto Frisch came in with the physics explanation.
Exactly, a real team effort. They called it nuclear fission. And, well, the rest, as they say, is history.
It's amazing how sometimes the biggest discoveries happen by accident.
It really is. But are you ready for something even more mind-blowing?
Lay it on me.
We're going to travel back in time, 2 billion years, to the heart of Africa.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's in Africa 2 billion years ago?
Natural nuclear reactors.
Seriously.
Wait, what? Natural nuclear reactors? How is that even possible?
It's true. They're called the Oklo-fossil reactors in Gabon. Basically, the conditions billions of years ago were just right for a self-sustaining nuclear chain reaction to occur naturally.
But how? What kind of conditions are we talking about?
Well, for one, the concentration of uranium-235, the fissile isotope, was way higher back then. Plus, the surrounding sediment acted like a natural containment system, preventing the radioactive waste from spreading.
So it's like nature was running its own nuclear power plant. Incredible. I'm guessing this discovery has major implications for the whole debate about nuclear waste storage today, right?
You bet it does. The Oklo reactors are proof that nature has been safely containing nuclear waste for billions of years. It's a valuable lesson for us as we try to figure out the best way to manage our own nuclear waste. Wow, just goes to show how much we can learn from the past. So, we've got uranium in ancient Roman pottery. We've got natural nuclear reactors, billions of years old. What other surprises does this element have in store for us?
Well, this might sound strange, but some bacteria actually use uranium for growth.
Bacteria using uranium. Okay, now I've heard everything. How does that even work?
They convert it from one chemical form to another, basically incorporating it into their metabolic processes.
That's fascinating. Which bacteria do this and why? What's the impact?
One example is Citrobacter. These guys can actually absorb incredibly high concentrations of uranium, way higher than what's in their surrounding environment.
And how do they do that? Why are they such uranium magnets?
Well, it has to do with their affinity for phosphates.
Hmm.
Uranium binds to phosphate, and Citrobacter are great at accumulating phosphate. It's a win-win for them, I guess.
So you're telling me these bacteria could actually be used to clean up uranium contamination?
That's exactly what scientists are exploring. It's called bioremediation, using living organisms to clean up environmental messes.
That's incredible. It's like turning a potential problem into a solution.
Right. And it's not just bacteria. Mycorrhizal fungi, those fungi that live in symbiosis with plant roots, they also play a role in the uranium story.
Yeah.
They can actually increase the uranium content in the roots of the plants they partner with.
Wow, it's amazing how everything is connected, even in ways we wouldn't expect. So from ancient Roman glazes to bacteria harnessing uranium for growth, this element really does have a more diverse story than most people realize.
Absolutely. And there's still so much more to uncover,
Yeah.
especially when you consider the vast reserves of uranium hidden in our oceans.
Trillions of tons, right. That's a mind-boggling number.
It is. It represents a potential game changer for our energy future, but there are some challenges.
Like what?
The main one is something called carbonate. It's abundant in seawater, and it interferes with traditional uranium extraction methods.
So is it a lost cause? Are we stuck relying on land-based uranium?
Not necessarily. Remember those brilliant minds we were talking about earlier? Well, they've been hard at work on this problem. In 2012, researchers at Oak Ridge National Laboratory came up with a new material called HICAP.
HICAP. What's so special about it?
It's incredibly effective at binding to uranium, even in the presence of all that carbonate.
That's amazing. So, problem solved. Are we on the verge of unlocking this vast oceanic uranium resource?
It's definitely a huge step forward. HICAP represents a real breakthrough, but we still need to figure out how to scale it up and optimize the extraction process. And of course, we need to do it in a way that's environmentally responsible.
Right, we don't want to solve one problem only to create a bunch of new ones. But it's exciting to know that extracting uranium from seawater isn't just a pipe dream.
Exactly. It's one of the many possibilities that make uranium such a fascinating element to study.
This has been an incredible journey so far. We've gone from Roman pottery to bacteria, from natural nuclear reactors to the potential of harvesting uranium from the ocean. What are your thoughts on all this?
It really makes you wonder what other secrets uranium is hiding. What other discoveries are waiting to be made?
That's a great point. It seems like we've only just scratched the surface. What are some key takeaways our listeners should consider as we move forward in our exploration of uranium?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that uranium is so much more than just its nuclear applications. It's a story that spans billions of years, from the formation of our planet to the ingenuity of humans harnessing its properties.
And let's not forget the incredible adaptability of nature, with those bacteria and fungi incorporating uranium into the web of life.
Absolutely. But perhaps the most important question for our listeners to ponder is this. Knowing uranium's complex story, how do we balance its benefits and risks responsibly in the future?
That's a really important question. It's clear that uranium has enormous potential, but we need to proceed with caution and a deep understanding of its power.
I couldn't agree more.
We'll continue our deep dive into the world of uranium after a short break. Stay tuned for more fascinating insights. So, before the break, we were talking about all that uranium dissolved in the ocean.
Trillions of tons of it.
Trillions. It's hard to even imagine.
It is, isn't it? A vast, untapped resource just swirling around out there.
You mentioned there are challenges to actually getting it out, though.
Right, it's not as simple as just scooping up seawater.
What's the main hurdle?
It's this thing called carbonate. There's a lot of it in seawater, and it really messes with the traditional ways of extracting uranium.
So how do we get around that? Have scientists figured out a way to deal with the carbonate problem?
Well, they're working on it. And one of the most promising approaches involves a special material developed at Oak Ridge National Laboratory.
Oak Ridge, they do all kinds of cool science there, don't they?
They do. And this new material, it's called HICAP.
HICAP, catchy name. What makes it so special?
It's really good at binding to uranium, even with all that carbonate around.
It's like a uranium magnet. Just pulls it right out of the water.
That's a good way to think about it. And what's really important is that it's selective. It grabs onto uranium, but leaves most of the other stuff alone.
That makes sense. Less mess, less environmental impact, hopefully.
That's the idea. But, it's still early days.
So, not quite ready for prime time.
Not quite. We need to figure out how to make a lot more of this HICAP stuff, for one thing.
Tail it up.
Exactly. And then there's the whole process of actually using it to extract the uranium, deploying it, separating the uranium, and then what to do with the HICAP afterwards.
Sounds complicated.
It is, but scientists are making progress. They're clever folks.
It would be incredible if we could get a big chunk of our energy from the ocean one day.
Imagine that. A whole new era of energy production.
And maybe not just energy. Could this ocean uranium be used for other things too?
Possibly. Medicine, scientific research, who knows?
This whole deep dive has been mind-blowing. Roman pottery, bacteria, natural reactors, now the ocean. What are your thoughts as we wrap this up?
I think it just highlights how much we still don't know about our world. How many mysteries are still out there waiting to be uncovered?
And it makes you think, what's next? What other incredible discoveries are just around the corner?
Exactly. But I think there's another important side to this whole uranium story, beyond the science.
What's that?
The ethics of it all, the impact on people, the environment. We have to think about those things too, especially as we explore these new frontiers, like extracting uranium from the ocean.
You're right. We can't just rush in blindly. We have to be responsible.
Absolutely. Progress without responsibility is a dangerous path.
So, where should our listeners go from here? What are some things they might want to explore on their own?
Well, we talked a bit about the impact of uranium mining. That's a good place to start digging deeper, especially the impact on indigenous communities.
Important history, and sadly, it's still relevant today in many parts of the world.
And then there's the whole nuclear power debate.
Yeah.
That's a big one, with passionate arguments on both sides.
Clean energy versus the risks of accidents and waste disposal.
It's a complex issue, no easy answers. But it's a conversation we need to have as a society.
Absolutely. And we can't forget about the legacy of nuclear weapons. The Cold War may be over, but the threat is still there.
It is. Understanding that history, the current state of nuclear arsenals, the efforts to prevent proliferation, it's all incredibly important, especially in today's world.
It's a sobering reminder that this element, this uranium, it has the potential for both incredible good and incredible harm.
Exactly. Which is why we need to approach it with caution, with wisdom, with a commitment to using its power for good, not for destruction.
I couldn't agree more. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener, and I hope our listeners feel the same way. Uranium is a fascinating element with a rich history, a complex present, and a future full of potential, both positive and negative.
It's a story that continues to unfold, and we're all part of it.
We are. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of uranium. We encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, keep learning.
Because the quest for knowledge, it never really ends.
Wow, we've really gone deep on uranium, haven't we?
Yeah, from ancient glazes to bacteria and those natural reactors.
It's amazing how much there is to this element beyond, the usual stuff.
Right, it's way more than just bombs and power plants.
Exactly. And I think that's a key takeaway for our listeners. Uranium is a lot more complex and fascinating than a lot of people realize.
Definitely. It's a story that touches on so many different fields.
Geology, chemistry, biology, history, even art.
And we're still learning new things all the time.
Which is what makes this whole deep dive so interesting. It's not about knowing all the answers.
It's about asking the right questions.
Exactly. So where do we go from here? What are some things our listeners might want to explore further now that they've got a taste of just how deep this uranium rabbit hole goes?
Well, we talked about the impact of uranium mining.
Yeah, the effects on communities and the environment.
That's a whole area worth looking into more deeply.
Especially the impact on indigenous communities.
Right. That's a really important part of the story. And it's not just about the past either.
You're right. We need to think about the future, too, especially with this idea of extracting uranium from the ocean.
Exactly. What are the potential environmental consequences of that? How can we ensure it's done responsibly?
Big questions. And then there's the whole debate about nuclear power, which we touched on a bit.
Yeah, that's a big one. Lots of strong opinions on both sides.
Some people see it as a solution to our energy problems.
Others are really worried about the risks, the accidents, the waste.
It's a tough issue. No easy answers.
Definitely something worth learning more about and forming your own opinion on.
And we can't forget about nuclear weapons. Still a major threat in the world today.
Absolutely. The Cold War might be over, but those weapons are still out there.
It's a sobering reminder that uranium is powerful stuff. It can be used for good, but it can also be incredibly destructive.
Which is why it's so important that we use it wisely, responsibly.
I agree. We have to learn from the past and make sure we're making the right choices for the future.
The fate of the planet might depend on it.
This deep dive has been an incredible journey. Uranium is so much more than meets the eye.
It really is. It's a story that connects us all, in ways we might not even realize.
Thanks for joining us on this exploration of uranium. We hope you've learned something new and maybe even been inspired to learn even more.
Keep asking questions, keep exploring, keep learning.
That's what it's all about. Until next time, keep diving deep.